It's only when you have 50 illegal aliens end up in a very wealthy, rich sanctuary enclave that he decides to scramble on this.
A day after shocking the nation and confirming it was his decision to send migrants from Texas to Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis vows to send more migrants from the border to other states. Today in Daytona Beach, the governor wouldn't shy away as to why he'd use every penny of the state's $12 million budget. Again, this is paid by Florida taxpayers to relocate migrants.
Governor DeSantis also disputed that the migrants didn't know where they were going. He says they actually signed a waiver and they were provided with a packet that included a map of Martha's Vineyard. He said, quote, "It's all voluntary."
Okay, joining us live to discuss Governor DeSantis' move to send Texas migrants to Martha's Vineyard is Dr. Sean Foreman, political science chair at Barry University, and Facing South Florida anchor Jim DeFede. Guys, thank you very much. Dr. Foreman, let me start with you. The governor's base loves this move, but is it worth the price he might pay with independence here in Florida, or if he goes on for national ambitions?
Well, Elliot, when the governor ran 4 years ago for governor the first time, one of his signature ads had him and his daughter showing her how to build a wall like a Trump border wall. Last year, he sent 50 Florida law enforcement officials to Texas and Arizona unsolicited to help with the border crisis. And he constantly talks about the border crisis being Biden's fault. So this shouldn't be a surprise. It was surprising that it happened the way that it did, but I guess we shouldn't be shocked that this is an extreme measure that the governor took. It satisfies his base, but I think, you know, for now, he's probably okay with independence, but if we see more of this like he's promised, then he could possibly lose voters over what's seen as very cruel measures here.
Jim, apart from the politics of what the governor is doing, you say that there's concern that this could actually be dangerous. What exactly do you mean by that?
So it's interesting that just a day before the governor made this move, sending these migrants to Martha's Vineyard, the Anti-Defamation League came out with a 40-page report called Hate in the Sunshine State, documenting the rise of white supremacy movement here in the state and a number of troubling incidents. Now, I'm going to explain in a second why I think that the governor's action fuels and feeds some of this. But first, I want you to hear Ben Popp. He's the investigator who oversaw this report, and here's what he found.
There's this developing white supremacist network that we've been monitoring for some time, and it's largely centered around a couple of groups, one called the Goyim Defense League, GDL, and another called White Lives Matter. And so these groups are collaborating and working together in an unprecedented way to distribute propaganda and hold in-person demonstrations across the state.
So the significance of this is that these groups don't act in a vacuum. And when reading the report and going through and speaking to the ADL, one of the things that becomes clear is that when politicians and elected officials take on a certain various issues and demonize a group of people, like, for instance, immigrants, and label them as a threat to the community, at a risk, you know, they're here to replace us, that only then emboldens the white supremacists who are out there. And so that becomes an even greater risk. So do I think that Governor DeSantis is trying to fuel white supremacy? No, I do not. Let's be clear about that. But he has to recognize and he has to understand that his actions do create this sort of a background. One of the things in the report that I found so remarkable was there is a picture from just last May in Orlando of a group of neo-Nazis holding up signs with swastikas on them and waving a giant banner that says DeSantis country. This is the backdrop in which Governor DeSantis is taking his actions, and while he may not see a link, he should be more careful as it moves forward, because there are those out there that will take his words and his actions and take them even further.
Yeah, that is very frightening right there, Jim. And Sean Foreman, why do you think Governor DeSantis chose Martha's Vineyard to do this?
Well, in the clip you played, he referred to the wealthy enclave that Martha's Vineyard is. He teased the other day, DeSantis, that we may send people to either Chicago, Hollywood, or Martha's Vineyard. And it turned out being Martha's Vineyard. Part of it really has to do with the Obamas. The Obamas have an expensive home there. They had a big party there. It's seen that Hollywood elites go there, even though some conservatives do as well. That Massachusetts doesn't have to deal with this issue of social services being overwhelmed. So that's why Martha's Vineyard was selected as a very symbolic, but also really a jab at the Obamas.
And Jim, we've heard Democratic gubernatorial nominee Charlie Crist and many more responding to this surprise. So what is the Biden administration's response?
Look, nobody doubts that immigration is a real concern and a real problem, and that the number of immigrants coming over the border seeking asylum is at a point where it is a crisis. Nobody, not even the Biden administration denies that. Democrats as well. The question really becomes more about how you deal with this and whether or not an act like this, which is called by many to be a stunt, whether that's the way to sort of bring attention to it. We spoke earlier with a number of different people, Venezuelan Americans. They're struck by the fact that DeSantis would use this after they have given him so much support themselves. So look, in some ways, local Democrats, like for instance Charlie Crist, they're walking a fine line. They don't want the governor's race to be about immigration. In a lot of ways, though, I'm telling you, this has nothing to do about the 2022 election. This has everything to do about 2024 and his national ambitions, Governor DeSantis, that is. And I think one of the things that it shows is that Governor DeSantis is able to and willing to lose some support in South Florida, if he may lose some Venezuelan support, because he believes he's that far ahead of Charlie Crist right now. Crist doesn't want to make this race about immigration any more than Joe Biden wants to make his presidential election about immigration. But that's where we are right now, and that's the reason DeSantis is doing this.
He wants to make it about immigrants and immigration, even though these problems with immigrants crossing the border have gone on for decades and decades under both parties' administrations. Jim DeFede from Facing South Florida, thank you so much. Dr. Sean Foreman from Barry University, thank you both for this discussion. We, of course, will keep talking about this issue. And